What makes something so bad it's good? Why do people love The Room but hate Jack and Jill? Why do so many of us champion Troll 2 but have nothing but disdain for the Transformers franchise? In my humble opinion, the difference between so bad it's good versus just bad has to do with heart, charm, authenticity, and a lack of cynicism. Basically, they tried to make something good and it failed with flying colors. No one exemplifies this more than the man who has become my favorite filmmaker, Neil Breen. I need y'all to understand, this isn't going to be a video making fun of Neil the whole time. There are plenty of videos that do that, and I'm sure they do it way better than me. This is more so going to be a video about how much his movies mean to me. Yeah, this is a genuine Neil Breen appreciation video. If you're watching this, I assume you know who he is. I assume you saw Red Letter Media talk about his movies and lose their sanity trying to do so, or YMS's videos on him. If you haven't seen at least one of his movies in its entirety, I 100% recommend Fateful Findings. You won't be disappointed, not at all. See, Neil doesn't make normal movies. They are anything but that, and that's why they're so fantastic. He isn't trying to make bad movies. He's trying to tell compelling stories. He's trying to make art. Nothing about him comes off as superficial or phony. He seems like a normal, down-to-earth guy that just likes to make movies about topics and issues he thinks are important. That's why we love him. Watching his movies gives me a warm and fuzzy feeling. They remind me of when I was really into making short films with my friends. He is the perfect example of just get out there and do it. I got into Neil at what I think was the perfect time, when I was in college. As an aspiring filmmaker, I was taking classes on writing, filmmaking, acting. My dream was to make movies, and reality hit, and now that dream is all but dead. High school was where I really got the movie making bug. I was taking a video production class, and it was our final project. I made a movie called Buenos Tardes. Why I called it that, I have no idea. I guess I just thought having a Spanish title would be cool, and it did take place in the afternoon. I don't know. I made every beginner filmmaker mistake. It was filled to the brim with some of the worst cliches, because that's what I thought you needed in order to make a movie, because that's what the real movie makers did. At the end of the short film, I even had one of my actors say, "This isn't over. It's just the beginning." I even did The Black Guy Dies First. I wrote, directed, and acted in it, and I had my character be the only one to die. I know what it's like to spend countless hours on a project only to realize it's not good. So to save face, you tell everyone you know it's bad. That's the joke. It's supposed to be like that, but that was a lie. I spent my school lunches in the video production room writing that script, editing that short film, because I thought that I had something amazing. Then the talent show rolls around, and one of the people who helped me make the film submitted it. Do you know what it's like to be proud of something you made, only to have an auditorium of people laugh and make fun of it? It hurt. It hurt a lot. It made me never want to do movies ever again until that love reignited in college. I know firsthand what it's like to have people rip into your art, and I love that Neil doesn't let it bother him. I love that he knows there's people that may not like his stuff, who may even make fun of it, and he keeps going anyway. Watching Neil Breen is like watching someone's dream and vision be undeterred. He doesn't care if he lacks the budget, the experience, or the technology to pull it off. He's going to make it work, and he's going to make sure his story gets told the way he wants it. Does he make good movies? No. The honest answer is no. But since when did good equate to meaningful or worthwhile? There is plenty of art that is good, but does it make it memorable? Think of all the movies that have won Best Picture only for those films to fall into obscurity, while the others are still being analyzed, broken down and have whole essays made about them. The Twilight series isn't good by any stretch of the imagination, but if I said it had no impact on me or had no value to me, that would be a lie. One of my most cherished possessions is a Breaking Dawn poster my friends got me for Christmas. One of my favorite road trips was when me and some friends went to Forks, Washington, and we stopped at the Twilight Museum. I prefer art that is memorable, that is entertaining, and that sticks with me. Neil Breen does that for me, just like Twilight does. When I get sick, I put on a Neil Breen film. When I'm feeling low and need something to make me smile, I put on a Neil Breen film. I don't get excited for movie trailers the way I do when Neil Breen releases a trailer. That has to mean something. One of my favorite movie nights I ever hosted was a double feature. The final movie of the night is one of my favorite movies ever, Mandy, and the opener was Neil Breen's Fateful Findings. I had to make sure that was the opener because while I love Mandy and I will recommend it to anyone who will listen, the whole reason for this movie night was to spread the gospel of Breen. Before the movie started, I had to make sure that everyone understood. Whatever question you have won't be answered. It probably won't make sense and you'll be lost the whole time, but I promise you'll love it, and love it they did. At first there were snickers and laughter, then looks of bewilderment, bamboozlement, confusion, then finally acceptance. The longer the movie went, the more engrossed everyone got. There were several people on the couch with me that ended up on the floor, unknowingly inching closer to the screen. All the laughter that began the night had turned to genuine intrigue. To say it had everyone hooked would be an understatement. Then, one of the greatest moments in cinematic history happens. The scene where Neil's character finds his best friend dead in the garage.
How could you have done this? Jim! I can't believe you committed suicide. I cannot believe you committed suicide. How could you have done this? How could you have committed suicide? I can't help you out of this one, Jim.
This is typically everyone's favorite part of the film. The film is great all the way through, but this scene is what sticks with everyone because of how bizarre it's filmed and acted. Tommy Wiseau could never. Since we're on Tommy Wiseau, I want to say something. The love we have for Tommy should instead be for Neil. I love The Room as much as everyone else. I've met Greg Sestero and got his autograph and picture, but The Room just isn't fun unless you see it with other people, and for the most part, it's a boring movie where nothing happens. With Neil Breen, all of his movies have something interesting going on at all times, whether it be the insane acting, the sometimes actually creative, even Lynchian lighting, the befuddling use of green screen, or just the weird scenery in the background. There is always something going on that you can find every time you watch one of his movies. Basically, every film a painting, but if the painting was of someone losing their mind. My favorite thing about Neil is that his movies don't feel like anyone else's. You can see his inspirations, but they never feel like he's trying to copy anyone. His movies feel completely unique, and I believe that's what makes him stand out. He's not trying to cynically ride the coattails of what's popular at the moment. He's not trying to make movies as a cash grab. He genuinely loves this, and I want to sing his praises before he eventually retires. He's not getting any younger, and I know one of these days he's going to have to hang it up and ride off into the sunset. I want to make sure I give him all the credit he deserves. Neil, if you ever see this, I want you to know that your fans love you and appreciate every movie you've made. You've given us quotes and moments that we will cherish forever. In a world that feels like it's getting more cynical, including myself, more dark, more hopeless, you are and have always been a breath of fresh air. Thank you. This is why Neil Breen is my favorite filmmaker.